what's the evidence that people are swayed by evidence? Right? That isn't generally like
emotion, right?
Well, people, the more naive people are and the more ignorant they are, the more they view the world through lenses of radical simplification. And one of the most simplified lenses is victimizer narrative. And it's perfect because you can explain everything with it. You can explain history. You can explain economic relations. You can explain the family. You can explain the relationships between men and women and parents and children. It's all power. One's a victim, one's a victimizer. So that explains the whole world. You can learn that in 5 minutes, but there's another advantage to it too, is that, so imagine you want to simplify the world because that's easy. But then the other thing you want to do is you want to take your place as a moral actor in the world so that you're elevated in your moral status. Well, if you've identified the victim properly, all you have to do is announce your allyship with the victim, and now you're the Messiah. And so the victim-victimizer narrative is the perfect hyper simplification, both conceptually and morally. And that's what's promulgated on university campuses in the name of education. It's like, well, everything's a victim-victimizer dynamic. That's the power thesis of the postmodernists, let's say. It's the power thesis of the Marxists. Yeah. You just view it through a lens of power, identify the oppressed, ally yourself with them. All your existential and conceptual problems are solved, right? Unbelievably pernicious. And the Jews are taking the brunt of that now because they've been cast as victimizers. And so hence the massive rise of anti-Semitism on the side of the radical left, which is, par for the course historically. Brutal.
Yeah, I think the fear-mongering has a bit of that. People fear what they don't understand. And since they don't have a mental construct to understand war, it's all bad. It's all wrong. They just want it to stop.
Yeah. Well, and as a first pass approximation, war is bad is not a bad theory.
Right.
But the problem is that there are worse things than war.
Yep.
Right. And and to understand that, you have to look into darkness, and that's a rough thing to ask of people, even though it's necessary.